Hey family, I'm Sienna. Welcome back to Life Lessons at the Crossroads. Let's be honest, saying yes feels good. It feels like love. It feels like loyalty. And for a while, it feels like the right thing to do. But what happens when your yes to everyone else becomes a silent no to your own peace, your purpose, even your relationship with God? Today's story is for the people who carry everything: the helper, the fixer, or the dependable one. You love big, but you're tired. In this story, we meet Tamara, a woman who always said yes, until God invited her into something far better: obedience over obligation. So if you've been feeling overwhelmed, stretched thin, or low key resentful even while serving, you are not alone. You're at the crossroads, and it might be time to say no. Here's today's story: when I finally said no. Tamara was known as the reliable one. Need a favor? Ask Tamara. Need a fill-in? Tamara's your girl. Late night ride? Last minute task? Tamara said yes every time, even when she was exhausted, even when her own plans fell through, even when God was gently nudging her to pause. She was always pouring and never refilling. Saying no felt selfish. Letting people down felt wrong. So I just kept saying yes, even when my soul was saying stop. One day, Tamara agreed to help coordinate a community event. On the same weekend, she had promised herself she'd rest and finally finish her devotional. She ignored the nudge. She ignored the tension in her spirit. She told herself it was ministry. It was for a good cause. But by Saturday afternoon, she was running late, overwhelmed, and frustrated. That night, she sat in her car with her head on the steering wheel and whispered, "God, why do I feel so empty, even when I'm doing good things?" And in the stillness, she felt him say, "Because you're doing everything but what I asked you to do." That sentence echoed, and for the first time in a long time, Tamara gave herself permission to slow down. She started praying before agreeing. She learned to say, "Let me pray about that. I'm honored you asked, but I have to say no this time. God's leading me to rest." At first, it felt awkward. Some people didn't understand. But peace? Peace came in waves. She wasn't saying no to be mean. She was saying no to say yes to God. As Tamara made space, she discovered what she'd been missing: stillness, joy, and clarity. Time with God that didn't feel rushed or squeezed in. And for the first time, she realized, I don't have to be everything for everyone. I just have to be obedient to the one who called me. You can't fulfill your purpose while constantly abandoning yourself. Saying yes to God will sometimes mean disappointing people, but it will never disappoint your soul. People will always want more from you, but God just wants you, surrendered, rested, and available. So the next time you feel guilty for saying no, remember, you are not selfish for setting boundaries. You are faithful for listening to the one who knows your limits and your calling. Let's reflect on Tamara's story. Tamara's story is something a lot of us need to hear, because somewhere along the way, many of us were taught that saying yes is holy and saying no is selfish. But that's not the gospel, that's guilt, and guilt is not from God. Jesus himself withdrew from the crowds. He said no to demands. He took time to rest, to pray, to be still, even when people didn't understand. Because obedience to God will always be more important than applause from people. Galatians 1:10 says, "If I were still trying to please people, I would not be a servant of Christ." So here's the truth. You are not called to be everything to everyone. You are called to be faithful to what God has actually assigned to you. And sometimes that means saying no. Not from a place of fear, but from a place of wisdom, peace, and spiritual maturity. So if God is calling you to slow down, listen. If He's calling you to rest, obey. If He's calling you to protect your peace, that's not selfish. That's stewardship. Let today be the day you stop saying yes out of guilt and start saying yes out of grace. You are enough, even when you say no. Thanks for walking with us today. If this spoke to your heart, send it to someone else who needs permission to breathe again. And as always, keep growing, keep guarding your peace, and keep showing up at the crossroads.